Hi, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us here on another episode of Healing Conversations. My name is Einav Avni, and with me today, Gregorio Lewis. Hello, Gregorio. How are you today?
Hello, good morning. I'm great. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I'm really excited for our conversation today. I know it's not necessarily going to be an easy one, but I am still looking forward to it very much.
Well, thank you. Most people who know me well, uh, if they get through the unintentional, uh, unofficial vetting process, then we're usually good from that point forward. So I'm also not just talking about difficult things, but I'm a difficult person as a result. So if you get past that, then generally speaking, everyone's good from that point forward with me.
Right. So with this, maybe let's dive straight into it. I mean, the topic of the conversation is surviving the impossible. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm 48 years old, and my parents tried to kill me, to shut me up about how abusive they were as when I was a child. Um, Fortunately or unfortunately, the Holocaust happened. I guess that doesn't sound right, but it happened, and that's how I ended up being so hurt by my parents. So it is what it is. They didn't take responsibility for their traumas in life. They used their money and their influence to uh, make their problems go away, which was this sweet little boy that I was, that they invested in destroying in every possible way they could. And so that's what they did. And how did I survive the impossible, or what is the impossible that I survived? Well, 28 years of my life were spent taking approximately 80,000 pills, psychiatric, uh, devastatingly harmful, poisonous toxins put into my body to manage conditions that we now know I never had. In fact, that when you have to go so far as to threaten a psychiatrist to give your child a diagnosis of schizophrenia, you must be pretty desperate, and they were. So desperate situations, I suppose, resulted in desperate actions. And so I was drugged for 28 years for conditions I never had, and ultimately, in 2015, I stopped taking all those pills after getting my medical documentation from the state of Massachusetts, which is where I lived and worked. While I worked for the state of Massachusetts um, as a counselor, and in the very same building that I worked in was the filing cabinet that for 28 years held the documentation that said the state agency that I worked for looked the other way when I was a child, and they gave me the documentation that proved it. And so two things happened. One, you can appreciate that I then found out that the entire life that I lived was a lie, that it was a fraud, that people knew about it, that I took 28 years or 80,000 psychotropic drugs for nothing, that made me sick, that gave me sexual dysfunction, that required me to have plastic surgery because well, for things that were done to me, and never became a man, never had to hold a job, nothing, 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 nothing. And then finally, I obtained all my paperwork from the place I work, which is just so happened to be the people who mistreated me when I was a child and locked me away for life. And well, you can appreciate what happened next, because you can't work for the state and have the state be your abusers. That's a really screwed up thing that I just said, and it's true. And so no one really wants you around when you make everyone look bad, simply because you chose to be happy, healthy, and well, and to invest in your good life by uh, working as a mental health worker, going to school to do all these things to help others cope with their issues. Like we all deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. And somehow, I was no longer welcome because of what happened to me as a child, and the fact that I proved it, and that was a bad look, as we say in English back in the States. It's a bad look. It looked bad. And because it looked bad, I had to be eliminated. And so I was. And I lost everything, or they took everything, my life, my reputation, my career. I was forced into homelessness. My cat ended up being killed. I nearly got killed. I left the country with nothing. I spent a year plus homeless in Europe, traveling from the 30 miles from the Russian border in Kharkiv, Ukraine, all the way to France and Spain and Greece and Turkey and Kosovo and Finland and Sweden and Poland and Lithuania and the UK and Ireland and everywhere in between for a year. Ultimately, I got enough money and I moved to Mexico, where I've lived ever since. I arrived here 6 months before the pandemic. I went back to Europe for 3 months to work, and I've been here ever since. That's, in a nutshell, what
In a
happened.
nutshell.
Yeah.
And of course, you're describing such terrible things, and how do you actually move forward in all of that? How do you how is it when you find out that your whole life has been a lie and that your parents have done this? Um,
Uh,
what goes through your mind? How do you move forward even?
it, I wish it was just that my family was one entity in my life that wanted to be gone, but it's nothing like that at all. They are just one of many entities that find my smiling face and me talking about this in a revolutionary healing way a big problem. So, like, it's one thing to try to heal from that one thing your family did this to you, but I mean, my career was working in mental health, so that was taken, and all the things I ever had in life was taken. The
Yeah,
cat that I adopted was taken. The woman I was with was taken. My house was taken. My reputation was taken. My ability to earn money was taken. And so all of those different components need to be factored in when we answer the question, how do I cope? Um, well, I don't know how to answer that question really, because it would be much easier for me if, like, my bedroom was right there. It would be much easier for me if my eyes didn't open. So the fact that I'm not going to intentionally prevent my eyes from opening, because that's just not what I'm going to do. I think that's BS to go that route. After all I've been through, I'm given a gift to be here today. So I'm going to suffer through it, honestly. And I'm not going to paint it like with a pretty picture and say that everything's easy and that I'm happy. No, I'm a pretty screwed up person, and I
yeah.
love myself. And I guess that's really the story, that I could die right now or die tomorrow, and I don't care, because no one's going to save me. It's just like no one's going to save anyone unless they save themselves. So all I can do is live in this moment and be grateful. And I have a lot to be grateful for. So I'm going to focus on that, and that's really how I cope each and every day. That's how I cope
So
each and every
let's
moment.
talk a little bit about what you do at the moment, right? You found a whole new thing that actually moves you forward.
Um, you know, I take care of cats. I have a cat zoo. I live in Mexico. There's lots of street animals. I have one cat who stays overnight with me, another cat that I take care of his needs, and then a whole zoo worth of other cats. I'm like a child, so I really am on the inside. I really am. And so I'm very sweet, like a little boy, because my mother hated me. I never had a chance. So all my cats have cute little names, like I was a child. So I named one of the cats, well, in Spanish, Gatita Numero Dos. So she's cat number two. We just call her Dos. I have another cat who's orange, so I call him Naranjo because he's orange. And then we have these other cats that visit. One has one eye, so I call him Pirata, so pirate. And then another cat that's like this beautiful grayish purple blue, so I call him Grease because that's gray. And so that's what I do. I hang out with cats uh, that I give little children's names to because that's what I feel. And I out on my terrace, I have approximately, as we speak, maybe 40 roses blossomed, but I have like maybe 30 or 40 more in the process of blossoming. I take care of my plants. I walk around this beautiful place I live. I like to help the old ladies in the street. I'll carry their stuff, and I give the street dogs food. And there's a beautiful woman I adore. I try to be good to her and try to keep my head above water and try to get my needs met so I don't suffer, because I do suffer. So I try to not suffer. Do all the things I can do to not suffer and be happy too. That's what I
And tell
do.
me a little bit about the books that you're writing or that you're publishing.
This is one of my books. Wait,
The other way, yeah.
I like going this. Like I'm on a like the price. No, the price is right. Like this. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the Craig Lewis Guide to Surviving the Impossible. I know my name is Gregorio because here in Mexico, people can't really say my name correctly. So I'm Gregorio, but I don't say my name correctly in Spanish either. So it's just a weird life I live. But yeah, this is a guidebook. It has, oh my God, 20. It's been a while since I counted. I'm going to say 20 passages and worksheets with titles like How to Heal from Betrayal and Find Peace in Your Heart. Then there's questionnaires, so it's like, it's a workbook and a questionnaire. I just have to see this here. There you go, like that. And this book has poems in it as well. And it's called, I give it this wild name because I figured so many people don't like me for surviving and being happy. And so we live in a very voyeuristic society. So I figured, why not make it easy for everybody? $14.99, right? If you want to know this, if you don't like me, you want to know. I figured that was a smart thing to do. Not everyone agrees. In my first book, The Better Days, a Mental Health Recovery Workbook. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And this has 37 passages and worksheets, much like the Craig Lewis Guide to Surviving the Impossible, but it's primitive. It's like basic recovery stuff. And it's in 8 languages: Swedish, French, Finnish, Italian, Dutch, Spanish. Oh my God, I can't remember. And then I have this book, and this book, which are anthologies of punk rockers. I don't know what I'm doing here like this. Anthologies of punk rockers from around the world, sharing of their personal lived experiences of surviving addiction, mental health, trauma, and terrible things. And interestingly, in these anthologies, we have over 10 people who either worked in the same field that I did, like as a mental health worker with lived experience, call it a peer specialist, or after they met me or contributed to the book or heard me speak, they then went to school and became a peer worker. And I've since been fired from my career back in 2015 because obviously because I'm good at something or I talked the truth about something and that wasn't okay. But a lot of people are carrying on that legacy apparently because they're writing their stories in my books that I publish. So that's what I do. I write books.
And tell me a little bit about the response to the books.
Well, can you imagine that this kid who basically grew up on the street as a forced victim has sold over 10,000 copies of these books? 10,000 copies is a lot of books, considering I'm poor, I was poor and poor financially, no support from my family. The mental health system in my country wants me gone. I was their darling until something happened in 2015, and then I was canceled. That's the truth. So yeah, 10,000 copies is nothing to laugh about, or joke about, especially when you're a kid like me, a grown-up kid. So that's the answer to your question. The response is good, and it only gets better when I am blessed to speak with people like yourself, who help me continue to bring what I've learned the hard way, and then turned into wisdom, and then share with others. Because when people hear me speak, or hopefully I don't talk too much or talk too fast, but I'm told by some people I do. Hopefully I'll be saying enough that they're going to go to my website and say, hey, I want to find out what this is all about, because I want to do that too. So people like you help me continue on my journey. So thank you for that.
And that's what I was kind of leading to. What the response I was asking more about the people who were buying the books and are going through it and drawing so much inspiration from them for themselves.
Recently, I saw a review written about one of the books I just published on Amazon. I don't like Amazon; it's not a good company, but they sell books, right? So that's what happens. And somebody I don't know who works in California wrote a paragraph I swear it's like this big in typing in the writing, and it says something to the effect of it's something like this is the best thing ever, and I can't believe it, and like it went on and on and on, and then the person said, "Where I live, we have a huge problem with like thousands of people who are homeless, and people are not getting their needs met, and I need to find a way to get a grant so we can get copies of this amazing book into all of these people's hands because they're all going to benefit if they read what this guy right here had to say in this book." And so that right there is the epitome of the general sort of responses I get. And I suppose it's because I'm like an uneducated street kid. I mean, I literally have ninth grade education. I went to college just to prove it to myself, and I graduated with 3.88 GPA. But I slept through the whole thing. It was boring. So this is pretty good for a kid who comes from nowhere, comes from nothing, and people who I don't even know write this publicly about my books. So that's really, in a nutshell, the response that I get.
That's awesome. And so what next for you? What is on the cards?
Yesterday, I published a new book. Um, it's a bilingual poetry book, and so I have a copy here. Well, I don't actually, but it's called Life Begins in Mexico because I lived here for 3.5 years. Or in Spanish, it's called La Vida Inicia en Mexico. And so it's a bilingual book. So it's fun because you open it up and like each page is English, Spanish, English the whole way. So it has a whole bunch of poems that I wrote about my life here, including a poem titled "There's So Much Love Inside Me It Hurts." And interestingly, I know somebody, the only one other person that I ever met in my entire life, who said the same thing, and so they're in my life now. So that's kind of special. And this coming week, I'm going to publish another book, which is a bilingual version of my English language story, which was published in a book in Australia called Victim to Victory. That story is called The Beginning, The Beautiful Life of a Murder Survivor. So I have a bilingual version coming out. And then on November 9th, I go to Mexico City and I'm presenting my three books in Spanish at a public event uh, titled, I'm just going to say F the Past. Then everything else is in Spanish. And that's it. I'm just going to try to be okay today and try to spread love in the world and try to, hope that my energy attracts the things I need to be as loving as possible. And I mean, the truth is, I survive off the stuff. So either I have to like earn so I can take care of my needs where I don't have my needs met. So that's all I can do is smile. It's the answer to everything you really ask me. I have to smile, be honest about it, and just be cool and like invest myself in everything that's going to bring the love that I deserve into my life and keep that mutual process going with the people in my life and those who I can impact with my work. That's what I'm going to do today, and that's what I try to do every day. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. I mean, of course, we spoke before, and your energy that you mentioned, the energy and actually, it, what is the word? I guess it's also some determination of actually not letting the past determine or dictate what is going to happen, and finding your way in a way that is calling you and is allowing you to do something good from everything that has happened.
Thank you for seeing me. I can't really explain to you how this all happened. You know, when I tell people that I'm supposed to be dead, they say, "Oh no, you're not. God has a plan." Well, yeah, wait a second. That's one thing. I understand that there's a plan and that I'm living it, and that everything's already pre-written and everything's fine. But this is serious. Human beings aren't built to uh, endure certain things to certain capacities, and I've been beaten bloody to a pulp, and I shouldn't really be here, and I am. Not only is that all true? I'm also this way, and it doesn't make sense, and it's hard for some people to accept. So my only option in life is to make new friends. It's really hard to be in your late 40s and realize that everyone who ever knew you knew somebody you weren't. It's painful, but it also allows you to write your own future. And I don't think I'm the only person on this planet who is in a situation like I'm in, but most of those people have no freaking idea what to do. And it's because I was so blessed to have everything collapse to such a drastic degree. So like everything fell apart. This isn't just like some things broke down. There was no safety net. There was no one picking me up. Just people kicking me down. So at some point, you just say, "Screw this. I'm not gonna die for other people's bull BS. I'm gonna just live for me. And if I do that, maybe I'll meet some people who will do that with me, and maybe I'll have a community, and maybe I'll live to I'm 117 years old, and because the first half of my life was stolen from me. So I'm just really getting younger. It seems like I'm not. Don't look like I'm 48, so I know that much. What can I say?
I like this. I like the, like we say, it's obviously not been easy and it's been going on for such a long time. But here you are, writing your own story and inspiring so many other people to have a life that is meaningful and joyous, hopefully.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. My hope is that, not my hope. I believe this will happen. It's the only way to do it. I believe that I'm going to do enough interviews that present me in this good way because sometimes I'm a little bit off the wall. It's the way it is when you're a severe trauma survivor. Each day is each day. You have to take it as it comes. If you have an interview, you have to do it. Sometimes you're not going to be as like I'm pretty all right now, but I'm not always. I believe that this miracle will happen. It has to. I believe that there's going to be some person out there sometime soon who's going to say that guy is onto something, and I have $1 million sitting around, and I'm going to contact him and say, hey, dude, I want to help you do what you're good at and make everything easy so you can relax and not have to stress out about like getting your teeth fixed and like paying for basic things. Because I don't know if anyone out there knows what it's like to lose everything and then move to a foreign country where you don't speak the language, where you look different, and have to start over from scratch. Let me tell you, it's hard. It's hard. It's super hard. Yeah. So yeah, that's I'm actually not joking. I'm actually extremely serious. And I figure if I put that out into the world, who knows what's going to happen, right? Because there's 8 billion of us right now, or someone out there is going to say,
Someone
hey,
out there is, got that spare million for sure.
yeah, right. So that's actually my reality is, and I want people to know that that's true. That you can actually just, I know it sounds crazy, but you can actually change the world with your thoughts.
Yeah.
So if it's true, and it is true that feelings are the result of emotions. No, no, I screwed up. That emotions, pardon me, emotions are the result of thoughts. Then, if we all learn how to manage our thoughts, we'll put psychiatry out of business, which is a good thing. But everyone's going to be happier, and everyone's going to be healthier, and I'll be part of something that's revolutionary going forward for centuries. And that's kind of why I'm alive. That's why I'm not dead. I guess it seems that way. I'm gonna believe that. So that's
Yeah.
my story.
And as we just about coming to the end of our conversation, what message would you like to leave our listeners with?
I would like everyone to know that you don't know what's inside a book just based on the cover. You could think you know something because you hear it on TV, or you read it in a newspaper, or someone that you trust or love told you something. You could go to school and be taught by a professor, but you have to ask yourself the question: who taught that professor what they knew? Who taught your friend and your parents what they knew? Why are things the way they are? How do you know that what you know is correct? And if you can't prove what you know is true simply because someone else told it to you, then maybe it's worthy of investigation because there might be a whole other reality out there of what life is truly about. And if you allow yourself the chance to open up uh, your third eye through your forehead, which doesn't actually, which is right here, then you might be blessed to see a real reality that's actually potentially much more painful. But if you get through that, then it's so much more beautiful than simply living your life, uh, but not truly living. And so, I guess what I'd like to say with that is truly live. And if you're not truly living, well, I'm sorry for you. But for those who want to truly live, do it because the blessings are infinite. And your life might fall apart to get there, but it's worth it. And I really hope everyone who's listening to this, I hope their lives fall apart as well. Maybe not as bad as mine, but it's necessary. And if you get through it, then you can smile like this even when you're suffering or you're hurt. And that's a blessing and a gift to myself and to all of you as well. So thank you.
That's incredible and so powerful. Thank you so much, Gregorio. Thank you for this message and thank you for this beautiful conversation. And afterwards, I will leave your links at the bottom of the conversation so people can find out more about you. If someone with £1 million or dollars, is interested in investing, then please do. And of course, the links to the books so people can get them and be inspired for themselves. Thank you so much for being here today with me. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a beautiful day.
Thanks.